Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. The intent of this roundtable is to go over some things that questions have been asked by more than one provider and make sure that everybody feels comfortable with those answers. And then we're going to stop sharing the slideshow and we are going to just answer whatever questions that you may have from here. Next slide. So we're going to first talk about awarded hours eligibility for family applications and remind you how you can see those. So let's go to the next slide. Once again, remember that the provider handbook is your friend. And it is in the process of being updated one more time. Well, it'll continue to be updated, but there's a new update that's coming out shortly. So just want to remind you with your new kiddos that are coming in that you can see how many hours that they are eligible for. You have access to the report. You go to the student tab and a specific location if you have more than one location, and then click on the three dots to download the enrollment report. And then once in the report, you can find the information in column M titled Child Eligibility Hours per Week, HPW. And then, as it says here, no matter what the order of the hours that are in there, if 30 HPW shows up, that child is eligible for 30 hours. If 30 HPW does not show up in that column, then they're eligible for 15 as long as they are in at least a half-day program. If they're in a part-day program, you and the family are only going to be eligible for 10 hours per week, and that's what you'll be paid for. So this is how you can see how many hours your families are eligible for, and this is updated regularly. I don't know how often, but it is updated regularly. So that's the report you want. Next, Heather. Thank you. So reminding that families are receiving fairly regularly notification of the number of hours that they are eligible for. They could potentially come back to you if they're in a half-day program and that they're told that they're eligible for 30 hours and ask you for a seat in their full day or your full day or extended day program. They could also, if they're enrolled in a half-day program, decide that they want to look someplace for a full-day program if you don't have one. So as these go out, that's a cue for families to really think about what it is that they want to do based on the number of hours that they're eligible for. Next. Okay, couple reminders for what's ahead of us in terms of the school year. So families need to accept their match by, if they have one, by March 3rd by 5 p.m. And if they do not have a match at all, then they will run through the algorithm the next time around on March 10th. And hopefully they will at that point have added in more providers, reordered providers, etc. A reminder, we're going to talk about this in a minute, March 4th through March 9th, you can adjust your seats by adding seats on your own. And if you need to remove seats, you would connect with us. And then most of you or all of you that I've heard from who want to add another program or archive a program, in order for that to happen before the matching rounds, you need to catch us by tomorrow so that we can submit it to the state. And then March 12th through the 21st, after the matching round has run, once again, you're going to review and accept or decline your matches after receiving notification. You do not accept your matches. You can decline if you have a legitimate reason to decline based on your setup form. So, yeah, so that's the period you'd have then. Then March 24th, families are notified of their second round marches at noon, and they have till the 31st. And then April 1 until the end of the 25-26 school year is direct enrollment for non-IEP families. In the next roundtable, we will go over direct enrollment one more time so that we make sure that you all understand how that works. But for those of you who are current providers, we're in direct enrollment right now for 24-25 and have been for quite a while. So nothing, or at least not much, has changed with regard to direct enrollment to our knowledge at this point. So those are the timelines in front of us. Heather? Um, the enrollment form is available now. It was not available before. And we asked you not to enroll before because we had a problem last year with this whole thing up here about dots next to the name. Um, Folks had the opportunity to enroll kiddos before the enrollment form was ready, and that caused a bunch of problems with having to go back and redo things for appropriate payment. So I appreciate your following instructions and not having enrolled kiddos prior to the time that we let you know that the enrollment form is available. It is available now for 25-26, so you are free to enroll should you choose to. There is there is a, basically there's a form. You want to go to the next slide for me, please, Heather? um, there's a form that actually asks you specific questions. And each of these questions should be available to you. So you need to make sure that you answer those questions. I have had some providers who have said that they cannot see the CCAP questions and the Head Start questions. One of them I'm going to work with after or toward the end of this to share screen and see if I can figure out what's going on there. If we have a consistent problem with that where people are not able to see that, I'm going to have to submit it to the state because that is part of it, and we're going to talk about why in a minute. And then they have added a slide in, a form in the end that basically says that you're attesting to what you have put in this enrollment form, you're attesting to it being correct. So again, this will be updated in the provider handbook, but make sure that when you are enrolling, if you do not see this form and complete that and the attestation, then your child is not enrolled. And at that point, you need to reach back out to us um, so that we can address it. I'll answer any and all questions as soon as we get through the slides. There's only a couple more. Okay, next. So prorated payments, we have been told, next Heather, we have been told that that prorated payments are being made quarterly for children who attended with you for a part of a month, but for whom you were not paid because they were not enrolled with you when your enrollment was pulled for that month. The next reconciliation process will be at the end of March. And to request partial payment, you have to submit a ticket to Metrics IQ. I do not believe that they are addressing these unless you are submitting a ticket. So assume that that is the case and submit a ticket, and then be prepared to submit your attendance for the child for the days that you are claiming payment that you did not get. They will request that. And so when you submit the ticket, I don't know exactly whether or not you can attach something or whether they have to get back to you and say, hey, we need the attendance. But if you can attach something to it, then I would submit the attendance at the same time. It just cuts down on the red tape because they're going to ask for it. Okay, so partial payments. You have to submit a ticket. Be prepared to submit your attendance. Next, please, Heather. We're going to talk about the CCAP memo. So you should have all received information. This may have only gone out to CCAP providers, I don't know, that are participating in UPK, but there was an information memo that went out for about CCAP, and it is basically saying that you all should prepare yourself. If you're a CCAP provider, you should prepare yourself because in 25-26 school year, beginning in August, CCAP and Universal Preschool will be stacked rather than blended. And I believe that Universal Preschool will be first in, and then CCAP will follow along behind it. So families that are only eligible for part day, yet they are a CCAP provider. Are eligible for full day, but they are also attending universal preschool. As an example, if that family is getting 30 hours per week of universal preschool, I can assure you that their CCAP is now, authorization is now going to part day instead of full day. And the part day will pick up the rest of the hours for universal preschool for the child. So prepare for that. We can talk about this further as we figure out exactly what this is going to look like. That is why you must complete the enrollment form that says whether the child is enrolled in CCAP or not. And so the Head Start part is up to CPCD and as the Head Start grantee to address that. Unless you are a Head Start partner, your child is not the child is not in Head Start. But CCAP is a whole nother thing, and they are going to start stacking. They believe that they can save about $60 million in CCAP funds across the state, which would allow them to hopefully serve more kids and open up the freeze. Okay, next. So I want to remind you in increasing seats that, as we said before, from the 4th through the 9th of March, you are going to be able to increase your 25-26 seats during that time frame. And only during that time frame for 25-26, you can do it on your own. You cannot decrease seats. Decreasing seats has to come to us. So you have the ability to do that on your own should you choose to do that. You also have the ability even now to do your 24-25 seats again, increase but not decrease. So if you want to do that on your own, you are certainly free to do that. If you're not comfortable doing that, then you can certainly send me an email and I'll take care of it for you. We now have been given the opportunity to actually be able to do the increase and decrease in seats ourselves as an LCO. We do not have to send it up to the state anymore. So your increases are often done within an hour or decreases within an hour. Okay, next. Want to remind you that the state help desk is fully up and running, and this is where you can send families or you yourself can call if you need assistance. They do prioritize families. Providers generally takes at least a day for them to get back, depending upon how busy they are with families. Providers, we're always here to assist you with that. And of course, we're here to assist families. But if they have a very basic request, they can ask the state to take care of it. I have been suggesting to families who accidentally put that they have an IEP on their application for them to submit it to the state help desk because it cuts one step out of that. But it has to be the family. You cannot submit that to the help desk on behalf of a family. The family has to submit it, and all they have to do is call or submit it and say, "My child doesn't have any IEP. I accidentally put this on there." There will be a verification step in there with the AU or the school district, but if we do it, then it goes up there and it does not necessarily get prioritized. So I would certainly suggest that folks submit that to the help desk in that case. Next. So as a reminder, all of the handbooks links are up on the JI page, and they are regularly updated. I am trying to get the link to the AU page so that can go up on that page. Also to the AU handbook, just to make sure that you have an updated link there. And so remember that we now have both a family page and a provider page. You can see the addresses here. We try very hard to keep those up to date. And that's where you can find roundtable recordings as well as the slides. Okay, I think you can, the next one is questions. I think you can stop sharing, please. And the first question is, what happens to the kiddos whose parents do not accept their match by Monday, 5 p.m.? Do they go back into the algorithm for a different match? And would the algorithm rematch them to the same school? Yes, so if they did not accept their match, then wherever it is that they were sent a match is back to selected. If they did nothing, they're back to selected. If they declined the match, then they will not receive another match at that school. It will go on to the next one. If they did nothing, then it will go back to selected and will run through again. But remember that other families have come in between that and they've received lottery numbers, and those lottery numbers could be higher than or better than the one that was matched with you before, so they may not be matched with you again based on the new applications that have come in with lottery numbers. So it's possible that the algorithm could match them again to the same school. And again, if they've declined, they're going to go back in and will not be matched with you. Does that answer your question, my friends from D49? You can shake your head yes, or you can answer more questions. Okay, good, good. Glad to hear it. All right, who else has questions? What else are you having problems with? Anything you need more explanation on? Okay, so let me remind you that the amount of reimbursement for the coming year will not be known until the state budget has been passed. And so we are likely to not find out how much the reimbursement will be until June or July. I do know that CDEC has requested a 2.5% increase. That does not mean in any way, shape, or form that that is what will happen, because the state budget is a bit underwater right now. So when you are publishing your rates for 25-26, which I am going to remind you yet again that that must be in your profile, I want you to use the reimbursement rates that we have for this year, and just assume that you're not going to get an increase. And it will be a nice surprise to parents if there is an increase for you and you can lower their share. But right now, just assume that it's going to be the same. And as a reminder, that goes in under the financial information. And then there is a text box there about additional payment information. And that's where you put in your full price tuition and then what you would charge a family if they are only eligible for 15 hours and what you would charge them if they were eligible for 30. I don't know about Heather, but I'm starting to get a lot of requests from families about, well, what is it going to cost me? And I go in and look in the profile, and about half the time I have to say I don't know because it's not in there. You're going to have to call that provider and ask them what it would be. So you are required to include any charges for UPK families that you charge. If you charge a registration fee, you have to put that in there, etc. And that's in your provider agreement. You have you have signed on to that, and we really, really, really need you to do that. Okay. And if you have questions on how to figure that out, give me a call or send me an email, and I'll help you with that. Okay. It has to be apparent to the family that they're receiving 15 or 30 hours free, depending upon what they're eligible for. So that's why we ask you to put in your full tuition so that families can see based on the full tuition, if you're eligible for 15 hours, you're paying this much. If you're eligible for 30 hours and you're in a full day program or an extended day, you're paying this much. Okay. And then that way they can see that they're getting 15 or 30 hours free. All right. Um, let's see, Heather, what other questions are you getting that it would be good for us to address at this point?
One of them is if a parent does reach out to you and ask you about changing within your program, or they said they have called you and said, oh, they have a seat open, I will be contacting you just to verify what's going on because sometimes a parent will tell me that they talk to you and you have a seat and they don't. Or I'll be like, well, it's not available. So I just want you to know if you do hear from me, it's because I'm trying to confirm and verify something with you. Okay, so that's kind of important right now as well.
We will make manual changes within programs. So what that means is, like for school districts, all of your programs within the school districts, we are willing to move from school to school to school. Okay. What we will not do at this point until we're in direct enrollment is move a family from one school to another, and one provider to another that is outside of an umbrella organization. That family is going to have to decline their match and they're going to have to run through the algorithm for a new one. We're not permitted to do that during matching, but we will certainly help you if you're under the same umbrella and you've got a family that needs to go from one location to another or something of that sort. And you have a seat there and you want to do that, then we will manually help you move that. All right. What other questions do you have?
There are three in the chat box right now. Do you want those?
Oh, I should pay attention. I've got the chat box in front of me.
Okay.
Um, if you have a current student that is not able to get in for the new 25-26 year, should I have them contact you or send you their information to see if you can find them in the system? You are certainly welcome to send us the information, okay? Um, they missed the priority registration period, and that's where their seat is absolutely confirmed. So they have to run through the matching algorithm, and if they don't end up matched with you, they end up matched with somebody else. They can decline that match if they'd like, and then hope to heck that a seat opens up for you. Um, and then during direct enrollment, we can help you place them there. But the state is adamant that we're not to override the matching system. And so they missed the pre-registration period. So they're now running through the matching algorithm. At times, people assume that we provide services beyond us, such as speech, OT, therapy, etc. If we see someone is approved for 30 hours per week, should we be passing on them as it can be a child with specific needs and we won't be able to serve them? You may not pass on them. Okay. If they have an IEP, they're going to the school district. If so, you can't assume anything. So what you would do is you would reach out to that family and you would say, let's talk about, let's do a tour, let's talk about, the your kiddo, et cetera, et cetera. And you can determine whether or not it would be a good fit for you. Okay. And for the family. But you don't have, unless they have an IEP, the IEP then is going to go to the school district for them to be, or the AU, for them to be able to offer services to the child. If the family then decides that they need a longer day than the school district offers or something of that sort, then the school district can chat with them about what their options are. They do in the long run have the option to decline services with the school district if they need something else. And then the school that they go to you'd have to make sure that you have the ability to be able to meet the child's needs. And I'm not talking about providing therapy. I'm talking about what it looks like to have a full day child who has special needs that maybe you don't have the people on staff that are trained to be able to do that. Okay. That's not a good fit for anybody. Okay. And that's when we can help you chat about with the family about what that might look like. Um, if you don't have the people on staff that can work with that particular child, then in my opinion, that child really does need to stay with the school district for services. And then they need to find a half day program someplace that can take them for the other half of the day without UPK support. That's my personal opinion. But there are kiddos who have speech needs or something of that sort that they can bring in outside therapists to a full day program, or they can get outside therapy at another time or something of that sort. And if you feel like you can effectively address the needs of that child, then we can make that work. But there's other needs for kiddos that some of you are not going to be able to handle. So, but you may not decline a child based on the number of hours that they are approved for. And you may not decline a child that does not that you think has special needs. If that is the case, then at that point we need to get involved and chat about what might be best for the child and what the options are. Um, I have a current full-time preschool student who was placed in a half-day spot, but all the rest of my current full-time students were put into a full-day spot. Am I able to switch them to a full-day spot now, or what is the next step? If we don't switch them to a full-day spot, will this mess any other spots up? Okay, that is moving within your program. And so for that, we would be willing to work with you and get the child switched. As long as you have a full day spot available, then we're happy to move the child to the full day spot. If you don't have one available, you have the option of opening up one and maybe decreasing one of your half day spots so that you don't go over licensing quota or something of that sort, and then we can put the child in there. So that's within your own program. I I don't have an issue with that. I don't know whether the state would, but in this case, I think that this is the right thing to do for both providers and families. So that's what Heather and I will do. Okay. Okay. That's the end of the questions in the chat. What else? Yeah.
There was one from Aldria Mann
Okay.
about the UPK provider having difficult time getting clients for UPK. And she asked, should I send or refer her to you for assistance? Is what it says. I know personally, I have a list of providers, and I do tell parents when they ask me what zip code area, I keep an open list going and say, are you getting the word out there, social media, word of mouth, whatever you're doing. But if you want to refer her, I can get her on my list and make sure that when parents do reach out, that I can let them know she has open seats.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, I mean that's why we have family resource navigators on staff, and we're interviewing for more tomorrow. So it's because some of those complex situations for both providers and families, we want to be able to facilitate a match and not have them continually going through a matching algorithm and being back at square one. So we want to try to help them find some place to go that they're happy with. However, ultimately, it is the family's choice. Okay, so we, excuse me, cannot say, hey, there's an opening at this provider. This is where we're going to match you. Doesn't work that way. It's family choice. Okay.
Aldrea, has that person provider watched that marketing um, thing that they did? That was pretty helpful. I felt like marketing your program. I think they recorded it, like how to market to families, just if they haven't watched it.
Yeah, we did.
I'm not real sure if they did watch it. They was referred to me from the food program. There's quite a bit of issues going on over there. And that was just one of the ones that was told to me. So I've been working with them for the last few days, trying to just assist where I can. But when it comes to UPK, I normally just refer them back to joint initiatives because I just don't handle that. I don't really know how to handle that.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to figure out how to move forward with that to help them.
Yeah. So I am so I specialize in providers and Heather specializes in families. It's not that we don't cross over, but that's kind of our specialization. So if we have a provider that is really, really struggling, then I'd like to be able to hear from them to talk to them about how they can beef up their profile, what kind of marketing they should be doing, because we market UPK in general. We don't market particular providers. Okay. And so we want to make sure that families know how to browse providers, how to look at them, how to figure out who's in the system and what might work for them. So Heather spends a lot of time with families in those kinds of situations, just saying, here's the ones that are in your area. Do you prefer a home or a center? Would you prefer a school district? You know, these are the ones that are not likely you're not likely to have seats here, but these you're likely to have seats and that kind of thing. So we do the best we can to help them put on their list in the order that they want, folks that potentially have seats open. So that's where we are at this point. And if a provider is just getting no interest, then I want to hear from them because I want to look to see what they're doing in terms of marketing themselves and that they are a UPK provider. Um, let's see. Okay. All right. What other questions do you have? All going pretty well for you in general? Okay. All right. So one of the other issues that I've seen that I want you to keep an eye out for if you're in this situation is some providers have decided that, they wanted to split their seats between full day and extended day. Okay. Because some families are in there actually looking for extended day. Um, Personally, I think the difference between full day and extended day is very confusing. So I think you may have a situation where you have a bunch of families who have chosen your full day program and you're full in your full day. It does not automatically revert to extended day. Okay. So if you found you have extended day seats open, but your full day has folks that are, wanted to be with you, but they're getting a program full, then you just have to reach out to us and say, hey, can you move some of my extended day seats over to full day so that I can get more people in that are sitting on the waiting list? And so that they can get matched the next time around. So we're happy to do that. So if you're one of those ones that has a split between full day and extended day, keep an eye on what you're being told in terms of families saying, "Hey, it says you're full." When they call you, and you say, "Well, I'm not full. I have seats open." Well, it could be that you have extended day seats open, but you don't have full day seats open. And if the family put full day in there, they're not automatically going to go to extended day. There's two separate programs. Okay. So that's just one more trap to fall into with regard to that. But we're happy to increase your seats and decrease the other ones or balance them out or whatever it is you would like. Okay. Um, yeah. All right. So Beth and Cindy, did that answer your question? What Heather just put in the chat for you? You good?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay. So for the recording, what was put in, the question was, what does, how much is the reimbursement for 15 hours? And Heather responded that it's you're supposed to, for figuring out your 25-26 costs, you use the current rate, which is approximately $606 a month for a child who is eligible for 15 hours. And a child who is eligible for 30 hours, the reimbursement is $1,076 per month. Other questions? Okay. If you have any suggestions as to what you would like us to do for you that maybe you're not seeing in terms of content for roundtables or anything of that sort, please reach out and let us know. Where if there's a special roundtable that needs to be set up on a particular topic, we're happy to do that also. So other than that, anyone who is having problems with not being able to see all parts of the enrollment form, please stay on and we're gonna play with seeing if we can figure out what's going on. If you can see all parts of the enrollment form and don't have any other questions, we want to thank you for being here today. Always feel free to reach out to us if you need assistance. Thank you. Heather, you could stop the recording.